Notts County Talk, we are live for episode 40. Episode 40 of the Pavis Perspective podcast. I'm hoping this week George has unmuted his mic because last time it was a disaster. But episode 40, we're closing in on the end of the season. We've not missed it very much. You've forgotten to unmute your mic, haven't you?
I actually had, yeah. If you wouldn't have said that, I'd have done it again.
Oh, that would have been brilliant. But it was only last Tuesday we did it, because of the Good Friday game. It feels like a long time, doesn't it? It really does feel like a long time.
It does. 10 days ago, which is it's a stretch, isn't it, to not have the Pavis perspective. But yeah, episode 40, that's mad. How quick has that gone?
Yeah, it has. The season's drawn to a close.
Yeah, crazy. I can't believe we've got that through that many episodes already. It's just gone so quick.
Yeah, it's crazy. People joining us on a Friday night. Weather's really nice. Andrew, Max joining us. Question is, have you renewed your season ticket? Obviously, some people will not be season ticket holder. Some will. Some might not be renewing at all. We should have. If we had a fifth option, we would have added not a season ticket holder in there. But it only really works, doesn't it? If you sort of, I think I worked out. If you miss 2 games, you're pretty much not worth it. If you will, that we have regularly on the channel, I'm going to call him out here. Season ticket, I think he's been to 6 games.
If that.
Disgusting.
To be fair, he plays for another team, doesn't he? But still,
he does play at a decent level. But
get your priority straight.
Yeah, you're not getting your money's worth. How's it been then? Because it feels a little bit not flat, because obviously we won 4-1, but it feels a little bit strange, doesn't it? Not having going from that crazy midweek to just nothing, and it's actually been more than a week since our last game when you look at when we're going to be playing. How do you feel like with that? For me, it's a little bit like nothing's really happened.
Yeah, it does feel that way, doesn't it? Like, I agree with you. It feels like really flat this week. Not a lot really happened. A few bits and bobs put out on social media from Notts, like one from training, but it's very similar to things that we've already seen this season. Bertram's presser, I watched through that, pretty standard stuff, really. Very similar questions sort of being answered. So, going into the run-in, it's probably a good thing more than anything that, because it has been 8 days, because we played last Friday on Easter Friday. So, we've had 8 days, hoping, it's a good opportunity really to have that time, I think, on the training pitch, especially with the likes of Harry Arter, who's, not been in the door that long. So I think it'll benefit us in the long run, because, in our last playoff campaign last season, it was relentless, wasn't it? Saturday, Tuesday, not really much time to sort of train because you've obviously recovering from midweek. So yeah, I think as much as it feels flat, I think it could benefit us a bit, this bit of a gap between games.
Yeah, and I agree. I saw you tweet that you wish we had a Monday game when it was the bank holiday and everyone else had that Monday game. I agree, but at the same time, let us prepare as best we can for these games. Results on that day, obviously Stockport got the late winner, which for me sort of seals the title. I know Wrexham were chasing them down. Wrexham 4-0 up at half-time against, forget who it was. I want to say Barnet, but maybe that's because Barnet had been smashed around by everyone this season. It would be an awful season to be a Barnet fan. And then obviously Solihull losing at Stockport, which was good for Notts. And then the game, I don't usually watch the late game in the National League. Either we're at a game or sometimes they like to pick Woking, I've noticed on BT Sport. They love a bit of Woking, and I don't know why. They usually pick something like Woking Altrincham, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch that on a Saturday. But it was Chesterfield Halifax, wasn't it? And the best result mathematically for Notts would have been a Chesterfield win, because it would have meant Halifax would have gained no points. But realistically, the best result was a draw in that game, and I really thought it was going to end up a draw. Did you?
Yeah, it looked that way, didn't it?
Yeah, and 2 Halifax goals, and that puts Halifax, if I'm just looking now, same games played. They played one more actually than Notts, obviously, but they are now 10 points ahead. It's all or nothing now, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
for that third spot.
Yeah,
they'd have to collapse.
Yeah,
seriously collapse. And you look at the fixtures they've got left this weekend. They're smashing it at home. I think 16 wins from 20. They've got Southend away, never easy, but we went there and won 3-0 when we weren't necessarily fancied to do that. And they've got Yeovil at home. They've still got Eastleigh and Aldershot. Aldershot will be safe by then. So I think third is, unless there's a massive collapse. If it goes to the last day, it'll be incredibly interesting if we're still in the last day, because they travel to Stockport. Stockport could well have won the league by then and probably will.
Yeah.
Or they're down tools, or would they be going for that 100 points? I don't know if they can even still get it, but that would be incredibly interesting. But I don't think we'll get to that. I think fourth or fifth is ideal. Have you seen a few people have been putting up there on Twitter? There was like a website, and you could predict home win, draw, or away win for every game for the rest of the season. I sent one in the chat, didn't I?
Yeah.
I sent one in the chat. So I predicted every result, not the score. I predicted who would win the game, and it came out with us finishing 1 point behind Halifax in fourth place. And on my reckoning, we would have played Grimsby at home, and then obviously if we win that game, we would have played Halifax away. So I see us finishing fourth. Where right now do you see us finishing?
Probably agree with you. I'd probably say fourth. I think we've got to set our sights high. They say that all the time, don't they? Like, we've got to aim for the highest point possible. I think they really need to get that third position in their mind. As much as people can think it's out of reach, which to some extent I do agree with. Whilst it's mathematically possible, it's something we've got to aim for, because if you're aiming high, and you don't quite achieve it, you're still going to be in a decent enough position. So,
yeah.
But I on the grand scheme of things, I do think fourth.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Chris thinks third's gone. Andrew thinks fifth. Anything can happen. You look at Halifax. I know that they're a better side than Boreham Wood, but if you look at Boreham Wood, my word, I mean, I wouldn't have expected that. We were sat here sort of start of March saying that we're going to have to watch out for Boreham Wood sneaking into that second or third spot. Since then, they've lost to Wealdstone, they've lost to Dover, they've lost to Aldershot, they've lost to Woking, obviously lost to Notts, lost to Barnet. They didn't even score against Barnet, and Barnet smashing goals in, letting goals in, like there's no tomorrow. I mean, Boreham would have gone. Boreham would have finished. They're not getting the playoffs this season. So it can happen. Chesterfield, Paul Cook's not really torn up any trees with them necessarily, has he, so far? So, they're sort of falling. I've seen a few Chesterfield fans a bit nervous that they're not going to make it. I mean, they're 5 points ahead of Dagenham.
That'd be awful.
Are decent. It would be awful. But, you get to the playoffs. Would you want to play Chesterfield? I don't know. Max says here, Bromley sneaking in, but they've been struggling. Bromley have struggled ever since their manager was linked to the Gillingham job. They've really struggled ever since then. So they have got a final, though, and I've seen their fans have been saying that final is literally papered over the cracks. They've got the trophy final. Without that, I think he would have been gone, which is mad because he could have gone to League One side. Fair play to him for sticking it out and thinking he could get that playoff spot with Bromley, and it's still slightly possible, isn't it? We'll look back then to last Friday, Kings Lynn. What did you think when they went 1-up? Were you comfortable?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, that first half, the entire first half, I mean, even when we'd scored, I just thought this isn't good enough. I mean, to be honest, second half was good. Like, I thought we were dominant, but I was really disappointed in that first half. I thought this team are just, I don't know, I just feel like there's certain times they're just spineless, weak, and I just feel like there's frailties that seem to show, and at the minute it seems fairly common. And this is one thing that you said to me when we left the game on Friday, that we've not won more than two games on the trot.
Yeah, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure someone will try and find me that now. If it's not two, it's definitely not more than 3 in a row.
Yeah, well, if it is 2 and we go into the playoffs and we play 3, we have to win 3 games. I don't know. I just wasn't overly pleased with that first half. I didn't think we came out the right way. I mean, Kings Lynn, were they maybe a little bit lucky with a goal? Yeah, but I mean, we've just got to stop conceding silly goals, because we've been doing that all season. It's just been that sort of like conceding silly goals. They can be unlucky, like I've just said, but like there's only so many unlucky goals you can concede, and then not putting away our chances. And to be fair, I think that was one of the games where we probably, we took our chances quite well.
Yeah.
But I just thought the first half was really sloppy. Just people trying a bit too hard, maybe a bit anxious. I'm not sure, but I'm hoping we don't see much of that on or tomorrow, because like I said, I really wasn't that impressed, to be honest.
Yeah, Andrew says 5 was the best streak, but that included 2 trophy games. Yeah. So I'm going to flip that on its head and say a positive. I'm glad Kings Lynn scored early on. Like, obviously, I didn't want it to happen, but now it's happened. I'm glad, you take the positive from it, because I genuinely think a few months ago, we'd probably have drawn that game. We'd have got a goal back. We'd maybe have got a goal back first half, and they would have just sat in and just waited it out. And we wouldn't have, the way Torquay sat in and waited out with 10 men. I think Kingston would have loved a draw there, and we didn't let them have it. Carl Roberts back in, that we're going to speak about in a second, but I think we don't want an easy game. No, I'm looking at the league table now, and for my maths is right quickly. If the results go the right way for Aldershot, I'm pretty sure Weymouth are relegated tomorrow if we beat them and Aldershot win, because then they can only pick up 15 more points, and that gap would be 16 points if I'm right. That's doing quick maths looking at this, but I do think I want every game to be difficult. There's no point at this stage of the season having an easy game, and it's all right if we make the game look easy, but I don't think only Stockport are making every game look absolutely just a joke so far this season, aren't they? So flip it on its head. It's good that we came back, and it's good that we came back convincingly, and it could have been more, couldn't it? But it did feel, someone said it was pedestrian, it did feel at one point like it was sort of the last game of the season in the sun, not like those kind of vibes. So
yeah.
But yeah, what do you make of Cal coming back then?
Yeah, it was good. It's good he scored as well. His celebration sort of said it all. He's back, isn't he? He's back in the squad. He's in good form. He's scored. What more can you really ask from him? I think it just sort of puts all that doubt that's going on behind the scenes to bed, doesn't it? And it's sort of finished with now. So it's all focus on gaining as much points from our last few games.
Do you not think he seemed a lot more fired up?
Yeah, he did.
I think he did a lot more running than I've ever seen this season. In a game against Kings Lynn, when you're 4-1 up, he was still tracking back. You pointed out to me at one point, we gave the ball away in midfield. I think it was Palmer, and he tracked back. Yeah. It was like the 88th minute. He was absolutely shattered. So he's come back. If he comes back with that level of intensity, he's upped his game even more. Whether something's gone on to give him that kick, I don't know, or whether he's just raring to get back in with everything that happened on social media. I think he was very, very good when he came back in. And I'll admit, we've sat next to each other this season sometimes and said, right at the start of the season, he was coming back from injury. A few times we said, look, he's not tracking back, or he stopped sort of 30 yards from not showing goal. There was none of that. It was really, really good from him. And this is another game that he can sort of improve even more, get more confidence. So it's a good time for him to come back, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a really good time. Anything else from that game that was stand out for you? Obviously, Woodson got a goal. I thought Ruben was really good. There is a comment here. We'll have a look at this, see what people think. We'll put this on. So we only have one quality centre-back. Don't rate Rollo and Lacey's made of glass. Strikers win games, but defence win titles. I agree with that. Strikers win games, but defences win titles. What do you think, George? One quality centre-back. And I don't know if we count Brindley as a centre-back, because he's not really a centre-back, is he?
No. I mean, if we were including Brindley, obviously as a quality centre-back.
I think so, if we are including him out and out.
I understand that the Lacey, he does seem to get a lot of injuries, doesn't he? But he's quality. He really is quality. Rawlinson brings something a bit different to me in the defence. He's more of he'd rough the opposition up a little bit. You're playing when you're playing like like someone like Danny Wright. I know
you're playing when you're playing a playoff final against Harrogate kind of player.
Yeah,
that kind of player.
Yeah, exactly that.
Worst decision in the National League.
I actually thought that when Rollo's been in like the last few weeks, he's been quite good.
Okay.
So I can see why people maybe don't rate him as in terms of the system, because maybe his footwork's not the best. But from a defensive standpoint, I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, I think you're referring to Cameron there as being a quality centre-back. We obviously know Cameron's quality. He's driving our defence. He's like a attacking midfielder. I would say when Lacey's fit, and he's sort of got I was going to say he's got a run of games under him, but he hasn't. He has, but then he was out last game. When he's fit, I think he's quality. And Rollo, I like him pretty much. I think this sums it up pretty well from Max. Says that, you've got a modern day centre back in Cameron, Rawlinson's old school, and Lacey's Rolls Royce. Yes, injury prone. If you have a back three of those, you've got a mixture of everything, really. You've got that player that can drive out defence, but you've also got that mixture. And what you have in that if you're playing five about, what you have with those three players there is a lot of passion. Like, you're going to have Rawlinson and Cameron jumping in the way of anything. If anything, Rawlinson more putting his body on the line. So I don't know. 3 quality centre backs. I understand that, we have to be better defensively. We ship goals in all the time, which is just not good enough. But I mean, someone asked us last week, didn't they? I can't remember who it was. It might have been Charlie that's usually on. If we'll keep 7 clean sheets, was it? Conceded within 11 minutes. So that was the answer to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see your point. We need to be better defensively, but I think these are good players. It's just not quite clicked. And like you say, injury as well. I think so.
I think to maybe sum it up differently though, let's say all three of those players' contracts up at the end of the season. Who is he renewing?
You're saying if they were up?
Yeah, if they were up.
Who would you, if you were in charge of that?
Just Cameron.
You just said Rawlinson brings something different.
Yeah, no, he definitely does. But
so end of the season, what league are not in? National League. You're saying if we don't get promoted?
Yeah. Let's say National League, like purely hindsight.
Go on.
I'm just saying Cameron. For me, I mean, yeah, I think we've obviously shown interest in the market. I think I can't remember what his name was, but he plays for Kidderminster Harriers, doesn't he? Put a couple of offers in for a centre back who plays there.
We don't know how good he is. I don't know how good he is, though. I don't go watching Kidderminster every week.
But I know he's sort of like that modern day centre back. So I think that's something that we're trying to bring into our back three. So if you're thinking with a player like that, Cameron and Brinley, you sort of have that, like modern day, a player that's good with their feet, technically gifted centre back. We need to improve our starting XR, yeah. The thing for Lacey, for me, it doesn't really make sense to hold on to a player. I mean, I feel bad saying it, but he just gets so many injuries.
He does.
He's class when he's fit, but like from a business standpoint, it just doesn't make sense to hold on to a player. Like he just seems to pick up so many injuries.
I think if knots don't go up, from my perspective, before I renew any contracts, I would look at exactly what style we want to play. I think we were set with a 5 at the back, and I don't think it went very well. And Torquay proves that. I thought 5 at the back for the tougher teams. Stockport was an anomaly because we had players being sick at half time. A fully fit game against Stockport, and Richardson takes his chances. We don't know, because yes, Stockport were good and we were poor, but I didn't realise at the point of filming our videos that the players were being sick. You can add another 30-40% onto Notts' performance levels there, and they probably would have been a hell of a lot more up for it going away to Stockport, knowing what the prize could have been at getting towards that top spot at that time. We were still thinking we may be able to do that. So you've got to know the system, first of all. If you're playing 4 at the back, it wouldn't make any sense to renew all 3, because we'd have to improve being in the National League. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you're going for 5 at the back, personally, if Notts were going for a 5 at the back formation next year in the National League, I'd renew all 3 of their contracts. I'd have Rawlinson purely as a backup. I'd have Lacey if Lacey was fit, I'd keep him and I would play him when he's fit. Or you never know. If you can get 20 games out of Lacey before he gets injured, fair enough. And Cameron, obviously. If Notts were going for 4 at the back, I would only renew Lacey and Cameron, I think. You best not have been laughing at me a minute ago, because I know exactly where you live.
No, I just think we've conceded too many goals this season, and
I'm not saying I'm saying they'll all be back up apart from Cameron. So you're telling me next season, if Notts didn't go up, you're laughing at me again. I'm not having this. The poll next week will be how many teeth they knocked out of George's last week.
No,
that's because you've run away. But honestly, so you're telling me if Notts didn't go up next season and we went to a back I know what you're going to say. It went to a back four, and you could. I'm not having it. You could say Lacey's going to be fit all season.
All right, yeah. No, if you could guarantee
would you have
Lacey's
those
fit
as your first two, as your starting two, or do you think we still need to improve for someone alongside Cameron? Go 4 at the back. You guarantee Lacey's fit all season.
If you could guarantee Lacey's fitness, then I'd probably say yeah. But I'm saying he's never fit. He always seems to pick up an injury. So for me,
I saw him play the other week.
Doesn't make sense to keep a player on like that. And we seem to make a bit of a habit of that. I think that's. I mean, I don't want to be digging out players and stuff, but
because this injury is not their fault at all, is it?
Yeah, no, 100%, it's not. But there are some players that I think that we have on our books at the minute that just seem to be injured quite a lot. And I mean, these are things that you can actually like physios and stuff test for when you're doing your what's it called when you join a club? Your medicals.
I think if you look back, you're looking at defenders, especially if I've got Lacey at the minute. You look at Ben Turney, you look at Damien McCrory.
Yeah,
McCrory was effectively just taking his wages on the last season, wasn't he? We barely saw him, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, So yeah, I mean, I rate Lacey very highly. If you watch through our videos, when he plays, for me, he plays really well. Like someone said, there's like a Rolls Royce, but he's just, he's always injured. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I mean, it would be absolutely amazing if we could keep him fit. But for what
I'm just looking at this now.
Struggle,
so when he came back from his big injury at the start of the season, he played 8 90-minute games in a row, and then went 5 games injured. So 8 games, 5 games injured. He came back in for 8 games again, and he's back injured. I don't know if he's fit for tomorrow, is he?
I don't know.
Possibly. So 8 and 5. So you look, what's that? So you're looking at every 8 games, he has 5 out. So about 13 games, you're getting just over 50%. You're looking at maybe getting a 55-60% season out of a player like that. I love it. I think Lacey's amazing. I really like him, but I get what you're saying at the same time.
But for a settled team, I just feel like you need to have your starters. Like, it's good having rotation and having backup and stuff like that. But for me, I just feel like the better teams of the world, they just seem to have that solid defense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Boiling that all the way down to purely the formation, I would like to see us go 4 at the back next season. I don't necessarily enjoy 5 that much. It was good in some games, but also it's when we were least effective going forward as well. So I think 4, and then you've got decisions to make. Graham obviously is on loan. If you go 4 at the back, what happens with Brindley? If you go 4 at the back, do you put Brindley back as a right back? There's so many decisions that we're gonna be talking about in a video. Right at the end of the season. Hopefully after a playoff, and we're looking at how we can improve the squad.
Yeah.
For back in the football league, and then
club captain.
Yeah, then you've got very, very different decisions to make, because then you're not looking at players that aren't good enough to get us out of the league. You're looking at players that have got us out of the league if that came and happened. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. So you've got Max there talking about a right wing back will be the interesting point next year. Do we play Dion there?
Without staying on this topic for too long, because I don't want to stay on this too long. You look at Sutton, they've not had massive changes in their side, have they? And they're not doing too bad in League Two. They're around the playoffs, aren't they?
Rob Milsom scored for them the other day.
There we go.
Rob Milsom. He's played consistently.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So yeah, I mean, not wholesale changes, but what do they have in their side? They have a bit of grit, don't they? A bit more. He played 34 games this season. Milsom scored 7 at 35 years of age. I liked him at Notts, but I would have had Sutton to come straight back down. So
yeah,
I wouldn't have had Hartlepool back down. Barrow's struggling a little bit, but yeah, it'll be very, very interesting. Whatever happens this summer is going to be really interesting. But hopefully, we're planning for a League Two. And what you were saying earlier, before we go on to look at the Weymouth game, what you were saying earlier about it's gone out of my head, but because I'm reading the comments, a standout number 1 goalie to organise the defence. Yeah, I agree. We need a goalkeeper as well. Definitely. What you were saying earlier, sorry, about the fact we haven't won more than 2 games in a row, I think it was.
Yeah.
I like that stat. Obviously not for the season, but I like that going into the playoffs because at some point that's got to end. I'm one of those that really likes those stats. And I'll say here, I think Wrexham lose their first game in the playoffs. I fancy that. To be fair, I've been saying that for a while, haven't I?
Yeah. Another one. I hope you're right.
I think the hype might get to them, and hopefully they put it on the DVD. But I could just see somebody.
Would you buy it?
Like, yeah, I'll buy it. Yeah. But I've got this chair in my living room, and it's kind of wonky, so I'll put it under the leg. Do you know what I mean? I think it'll be all right.
Class.
Yeah.
Class.
So let's look ahead then. Weymouth, as I've already said, I think we can relegate them tomorrow. Could anybody confirm that? Never nice to see a team get relegated. To be fair to them, they've done all right. We drew 1-1 away. I thought they'd be absolutely hammered. I thought they'd be sort of like Chorley. I know they've not done fantastically, but they've done all right, haven't they?
Yeah.
Do you see them more of a threat than Kings Lynn, less, or pretty much the same? Kings Lynn had a fight in them.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be easy. They're literally fighting for their lives. I know there's a few people looking at their recent form on Twitter and stuff like that, and it's really easy to look into stuff like that. But like you've just said, you like stats like that when it's roles reversed. I hate stats like that when it comes to Notts because we're expected to beat them. It's an easy 3 points on paper. It's not going to be easy, I don't think. If we can relegate them tomorrow, do you think they're just going to just stand there? Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a difficult game. It really is.
Of course, yeah, of course it is. You see things in other divisions and like videos online of when teams were 2 down with half an hour to go to stay up. And I know they're not going to stay up, but they're not going to want to get relegated, are they? They're going to want to fight till the last day. So I think it'll be difficult. With that in mind, do you stick with the same formation, the same team? Do you switch it around if people are fit? I know you put on your tweet earlier on Twitter that does Graham come back? Does Graham play again? If Lacey's back, do you play him? What do you see? Eli Sam needs to get some minutes in him.
Yeah, no, I think we should change it up a little bit. I think it's something that Birchnell talked about, getting players that have trained really hard, some minutes in. For me, I would really like to see Eli Sam. I know you were talking to your dad, weren't you, at half time, saying that the Kings Lynn game would have suited Elisha Sam. Comes on, scores, and really should have got 2. So he just always looks like scoring when he comes on at the moment, doesn't he? Like,
he does.
Obviously, he gets Player of the Month. Was it last month? Oh, month before.
Feb. It was Feb.
Feb, yeah. I rate him highly. I think get him in. I'd like to see Vincent as well. Get Vincent in. Maybe even give Francis a few minutes. And I'm not underestimating the opposition. I'm not. I just think it's a really good opportunity to play some of these players. So you don't think worst case scenario, but let's say we pick up an injury now. We want those players to be ready to come into what could be a playoff run.
Yeah, exactly. 6 games left, and I think we can look at that and think, the way the fixtures fall, are we going to be able to get some players in to get that fitness? Like you said, we play Weymouth tomorrow. Tuesday is the Dover trip away. Luckily, we didn't leave Nottingham last time, did we? We got sort of near the ice arena. Yeah. Carlton turned around and went to Old Trafford. Decent little change there. I'd rather been at Dover though. So it's the Dover trip. So we play tomorrow, Tuesday. We then play Saturday away at Aldershot. Now we were talking earlier. I won't tell the story yet, but I saw George earlier. Gave him a heart attack pretty much. And I said, whatever happens tomorrow, if Notts win and Halifax don't, I still then start to believe third's on. Otherwise, that trip to Aldershot is to secure 4th or 5th. Well, not secure, but to try and get 4th or 5th. So we play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. Then we play Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, at home to Dover. So we effectively have now 4 games in 9 days. And then we have the week for Altrincham and the week for Maidenhead. So 4 games in 9 days. In 9 days' time, or 10 days from today, we're going to almost know who we're playing. I think the playoff there might be Dagenham chasing, but I think we're going to know who's those playoff teams, and then it's mixing it up who's going to play who. So I think it'll be really, really interesting. But like you say, we're going to have to get some players fit, because if we're playing 4 games in 9 days and then we're going to play the playoffs, which isn't a week between games usually, if I remember right, it's usually sort of 4 or 5 days. So Callum says job in. Max says unpopular opinion, but I'd like to see a 4-4-2 with Eli and Wotton up top. Drop Ruben. You can't say that.
That's unpopular. That's very unpopular.
That. Drop Ruben. You can't say that. I don't think 4-4-2 would suit it, because then, Ruben wouldn't be in there. I'm not sure. I couldn't drop Ruben. 4-4-2. I have thought about before. I have thought about that. Evening One Rovers vlogs. Join us again. Thanks for joining us. But we'll go to our team then. We'll go to our team, and we'll see what we think. In goal, Yaros. Back 4, Richardson. Right back. Rawlinson. Lacey, if fit. If not, Cameron. Chickson left back.
Cameron's not fit, is he?
Not Cameron. Graham.
Graham.
Cameron's not fit now. So that's my back 4 or 5. What about you? And you like Graham, don't you? You really like Graham. I thought he was decent when he came in.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm going to agree, but I'm going to say Graham instead of Lacey.
Fair enough. What we're playing in front of that then? I thought that it was a 4-2-3-1 against Kings Lynn.
Yeah, I liked it.
Very, very effective. I liked it a lot.
The only thing about it, right, I'd say, is I thought it affected Palmer's game a little bit.
In what way?
I just don't feel like he was as involved in the game, and I feel like he's a player that you need to get involved in the game, because I feel like he's really good at connecting the attack. Do you know what I mean? To the midfield and the defense. So I don't know. I don't know how you could change that. But
what we first saw when Arthur came in, and you picked it out straight away at one of the games, is how advanced Palmer was playing. This doesn't allow for that, does it?
No.
Of this 4-2-3-1. Ruben's a focal point there. So I get what you're saying.
But I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's only one game, isn't it? So I'd probably just go Arthur and Palmer, just purely for the fact that it allows that sort of, you've got Kyle Roberts then overlapping with Richardson. You can get Ruben in there. Wotton's up top as well, and then you can add in Eli, Vincent, whoever you want in that sort of third attacking role.
Yeah, I'd agree with Vincent and Palmer. Evening, Maggie. Thanks for joining us. I'd then go Ruben behind.
Vincent and Palmer, the two.
Sorry, Arthur and Palmer. Arthur and Palmer. But I would like to see Vincent off the bench, and then I would say Ruben, sort of as a 3 behind Wotton, so 1 up top. I'd have Aaron Neman played really well. I liked him.
Neman as well. Yeah,
I would go Neman. Obviously, Cal. But Neman or Eli, I wouldn't be surprised to see any of them playing. Max says Taylor. I don't know whether we're going to see Taylor again this season. I don't know what's happened. I really don't know what's happened. So we saw him sat there, didn't we, in the sort of where all the players sit against Kings Lynn, but no idea what's happened. I've heard something about him wanting us to be a bit better defensively. Now Taylor's really good attacking wise. I didn't see many problems defensively, but that's why I'm not a football manager, so not 100% sure on that one. So there's our team. Mix it up for Dover. We'll have to see how the result goes. I don't think Dover will be easy. They've started to score. They beat Bournemouth. I mean, at the minute, our youth team could beat Bournemouth because they're just in an absolute mess. But they still beat Bournemouth, and they still scored 5 against Wrexham. So that's gone from me. I think if that game was played in January, it was an easy win. All of a sudden, now they're relegated, it's not an easy win. So, interesting one. George.
Tom.
Have a look at the poll then. Because it's a nice positive one, isn't it? They're frozen the prices for season tickets, regardless of what division we're in. I really like that. That's great. Great from the club.
Yeah. Have you renewed your season ticket? 28% say yes, that's not bad to be fair.
Quite early.
At 30 votes, yeah, it's good going. 17% say no. 45% planning on doing so. 10% I'm not going to.
I hope the 10% of people that haven't got a season ticket and they just put that.
Yeah. I haven't done mine yet, have you?
No,
I obviously will be.
I've planning to do it soon.
Yeah, me too.
So
Well,
I
it
think
depends actually.
go for that.
I'm not going to. I might not go to. You know what I mean?
What are you on
Just
about?
depends. Just depends how the season goes.
Rubbish.
Just can't take the disappointment anymore.
I can. That's what
I'm only
football's about.
joking. I'll be
No,
there
you're not. I
next
don't
season.
think. You're laughing at me earlier. I'm not backing you up. Definitely not backing you up. Yeah. One thing before we get that score prediction. What's going on with the final? Where's it
It's
at?
all over, isn't it?
I think by the sounds of it, we're playing the first half at West Ham and the second half at Wembley.
You know what? Genuinely, and I honestly mean this. I'm not lying. I'm being dead serious. I would not put it past the National League to do that.
I wouldn't put it past full price tickets as well for each half, just to rob us completely. Could you imagine packing your stuff up and just heading over to Wembley? So it looks as though it was at West Ham with a running track around it. So you're about 3/4 of a mile away from the pitch. And then from what I've seen online, they're selling corporate tickets for the National League final at Wembley on their website. I don't know. Where would you prefer it? It's Wembley, isn't it? You want the game at Wembley. You don't want it at West Ham. If you're at West Ham, we'll go and support them as you would. But it's Wembley. You want to get there.
Yeah, that's what. To be fair, at the start of the season, when these things, you talk about the playoff final and things like that, you assume that it's at Wembley. That's where it is. That's the home of football in England. So finals like that should be held at Wembley, and I don't really understand why they wouldn't be.
Neither do I. It just that should be sorted before the season even starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Shouldn't it? There shouldn't be. It shouldn't even be a discussion. It should just be before the season even starts. But there we go. Right, get your score predictions in. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to let George go first for a score prediction and scorers.
Thank you.
Chuck in a man of the match in there if you want. Throw a man of the match in. Go on.
Being spoiled this week. I'm going to go 2-1 Notts.
2-1. Tricky game.
2-1. Tricky game. Eli to get 2.
Eli to get 2. Who's your man of the match?
Eli.
Eli could score 4, or Wootton could score 4, and they'd announce at 70 minutes that the man of the match is like Dion Yaros. Or Yaros, or something like that. But every week, the people around us, who's not man of the match? Sometimes they get it spot on. To be fair, I think it's chosen at like half time, isn't it? From what I've heard. I think it's chosen way before. So you're going 2-1. Did you say they're scoring first or not scoring first?
I reckon we'll go 1-0 up and it'll go 1-1. Then we'll nick 1 late.
Will there be boos if it goes 1-1?
I'll be booing.
Will you?
No.
You instigate the boos?
Yeah.
See, I'm not backing you at all anymore.
I pretend to do it. I just go.
We're done. You mute your mic again.
I'm
going to go 3-0. Clean sheet. I think Weymouth will start really well. I think they'll press Notts. I think they'll fight for it. And then I think we'll score 1-0. And then I think they will have to come at Notts then. There's no option. Like Kings Lynn might have had the option to keep it at 1-1. There's literally no option. If they want any chance of staying up, they're going to have to come at Notts. And I think it's going to play in their hands. And I think we'll win 3-0. And I think it's going to be a Ruben hat-trick. So based on a Ruben hat-trick, man of the match, Rawlinson. I think that's how it will go. Let's see what you think. Gary says 3-0 Notts. Chris says 4-0 Rodriguez, Arter, Roberts, Wootton. Arter hasn't scored yet, has he? I don't think so. That'll be interesting.
No.
Gary adds that his man of the match would be Ruben. We've got Max says 4-2 Wootton, Palmer, Cow 2, man of the match Palmer. Andrew says 3-1 Notts, Sam, Cal, and Arter. A lot of people saying Arter man of the match. Where would we be? Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, whatever you say. Where would we be without this?
It's always there.
5-2, Chickson hat-trick, Eli Breeze, man of the match, Vincent. If Chickson scored a hat-trick and didn't get man of the match, I'd be on the pitch. I know Callum would be on the pitch. Absolutely fuming. He'd be out that turnstile on the pitch quicker than... it'd be disgusting. Maggie says 4-0 Notts, 2 for Wootton, 2 for Cal. Positivity, George. You're all about the most, not negative, but the least positive on here. It will be a tough game though, won't it? Very, very tough.
Yeah.
So it will be tough. We'll have videos out as usual after the game tomorrow. Hopefully get player ratings up nice and quick again. Hopefully giving a few high ratings as well for that one. We can only do what we can do and hope people above us drop points. But I think that 4th or 5th spot now is the most realistic one. As always, thank you for watching Pavis Perspective episode 40, sponsored by Better Bites.